Hey guys, it's SuitNTieMedia, otherwise known as Christian, and as you guys know, I am infatuated with being a graphic designer, and this has been my goal for the last probably about a year and a half ago, kind of around where I started my YouTube channel off. Now, what this video is it's a presentation for one of my college classes, but I wanted to turn it into a little way to kind of be artistic with it. As you guys are fully aware, I do this YouTube thing, or I used to do it as much as I could until, real life things started to get in the way, but it's still one of my favorite things ever to do. It incorporates my creativity and ability to use graphic design, so I decided why not use this as a medium to kind of show off what I've done rather than just talk about it. I want to do this differently than most people have done it, because a lot of the presentations will probably be about the things that are, mean a lot to them and, future things, and that's great, and that's what I'm going to be doing as well. But I wanted to kind of demo reel the things that I have accomplished to show how passionate I am about this. So I don't want to waste too much time. The thing that I believe I'm pointing the right way, on the right, or it'd be left side for me, is just a random job application or job flyer that I saw on the internet for a graphic designer. It's not where I live or anything. It's just something that happened to be out there that would be a viable option, just to kind of show you guys, but we'll go over that later. Some of the things that I've put to talk about today are the specifics of the career, the education that is needed, a realistic outlook for it, because obviously, you can't dream to make $1 million, $1 billion doing anything, but there are some ways to get successful, obviously. Personal goals for me, and obviously everybody needs to know what type of salary are you going to be making in a job like this. Above me, I have just a couple of different mediums in which I use to broadcast and show my creativity. I also consider myself an artist, and at one point considered myself a serious YouTuber. But besides that, going into graphic design, what they do, or what a graphic designer usually does, is, works a lot with mainly Adobe. There's other programs and things out there, but it's not as extensively taught, because Adobe does run the software monopoly, you could say. They have everything you could ask for, from Photoshop to InDesign, Illustrator, and way more than that. So that's really probably what I'm going to be spending my entire career using, because that's what I use. That's my go-to option for everything. What a graphic designer needs to know how to do is be able to create logos, edit photos, create ads, brands, and kind of be the creative side of things that are lacking otherwise. For example, you want to be the eye-popping for this, like matching a word or a name or something with a visual that people are going to be able to remember, whether it's for yourself or for other people. You can work for clients, you can work under under the supervision of a company, things like that. There's so many ways to get involved in this business. You have to be proficient with computer softwares, operating systems, HTTP or website coding would be really nice to learn. It's actually something that I had no idea about that I'm really starting to love and getting used to. Obviously, like I said, Photoshop, Illustrator, those things are extremely important, and honestly, without them, I don't think I'd be able to do this. They're so user-friendly and have so many great functions to make it almost a breeze to do a difficult job. So, that's just another reason why. You can either work with a team under supervision, or you can work by yourself. In terms of this career, there's so many things you can do. You can go from freelancing, which is basically just doing things for clients on your own, getting hired per project or per, item that you do for them, all the way to working for a company that hires you year round and, working under a team to create a larger project. Typical day usually consists of lots and lots of planning. You want to plan everything out long before you ever sit down to do it. The problem with getting down to do it without planning out is a lot of times you can run into some big issues, and you do not want that when you get to roadblocks or things that you haven't planned out for. You need to be ahead of the game. You would usually, you may not be clocked in 40 hours a week, but trust me, there are so many times when you may go 50, 60 hours a week, and to be honest, you love it so much, if you're like me, that you will not even realize that you're going 50, 60 hours a week. I mean, I do this stuff as a hobby almost full time. So for me, it's a job that can be extremely strenuous on hours, but at the same time, they're not stressful hours if you don't need them to be. You know, it's a job that you can spend those hours loving rather than hating. There's going to be a lot more than what people would think is going to go into you trying to market, trying to reach out to customers, clients, things like that. You need to reach out to people. More so than often, a lot of your job is going to consist of trying to hook clients to want to have you over other people. That's the thing about this business, is it only has a 1% growth rate in the next 10 years, so it's not projected to be very high, which keeps it competitive. Part of that reason is because it is 100% up to creativity. You don't get in this job by just learning. This is something that you need to be able to do, that I will be needing to learn to do outside of the box. This is based on your creativity. You need to be creative for this. You need to be passionate, and you're facing off against some of the best people doing the same thing because they love it just as much, if not more than you. So it can be pretty competitive. One of the things that most people or most jobs will ask for is a 4-year completion bachelor's degree in graphic design, digital media, things like that. Personally, I'm going to graduate with my bachelor's in graphic design, so sorry about that. There was a little ad that popped up in the music. I'm trying to keep the music playing in the background to kind of allow for a little bit more entertainment, but every time an ad pops up, I have to kind of cut out. So going back to it, a 4-year degree is preferred. Most jobs are looking for people under 4-year degrees, and on top of that, would like to have a couple years of experience with Photoshop or Illustrator, the Adobe programs. Every business, every client, every job, the majority of them want you to be familiar with how to use Adobe products because they are the biggest and they are the best. And in order for you to be successful, that's one of the things that you'll have to be looking into. Being certified in Photoshop is a great plus. I don't know if it's mandatory. I would say it's not, but it's strongly recommended that you do it anyways, and that's one of the reasons why I would probably find myself doing it. Besides, like, you could do it as a hobby, so it's not really a huge push. I mean, other than your degree, that's the only real thing you need, but like I said, a couple years of experience is usually really needed. So the salary of this, I'd say about 40,000 US dollars to start is what you'd be looking at as an entry-level person at that position. Now, it does vary. You can get up to $120,000 if you're a senior advisor, and the way to get to that usually takes about 5 years of in-the-field experience post-college. So after you're already graduated, after you've already got those experiences under your belt, you're going to need to do about 5 years of work in the field to be able to understand how to not only work these programs and be a graphic designer, but how to lead other graphic designers and how to be an expert in your field. So and a lot of the places that are looking for jobs in all spectrums are larger cities. Obviously, you can find them in smaller ones, but they're very few and far between and not necessarily very easy to get into. I'd probably see myself relocating to a larger city, maybe even across the country or even world. That's a huge possibility. In fact, a lot of these graphic design jobs that hire you will actually pay for your flight and allow you to go over to different countries in Asia, Europe, things like that, off of work visas, which is amazing because you can travel the world doing what you love to do. It's going to be hard because some of them have language barriers and things like that, but it's usually a really, really cool thing. And also, you know, even though the cap for on paper salaries is 120,000, that doesn't factor into the point that this is a entertainment able job, meaning you could do this for YouTube, for Twitch, for TV, things like that, and actually make a lot more money. I mean, the cap is not certain, and nobody really knows, because there are people who have made a ton more money than that going into it. It's all about personal success and outreach. The reality for it is that there's going to be a very competitive group of people. Like, it's a competitive job, and as I mentioned earlier, you're going to be battling to keep your job because it's not necessarily a consistent thing. There are ways to make great money off of it, but you might, from one client, make a month's worth of money in a couple of weeks, but then you might not get another client to come around for, maybe another month. So you're not necessarily going to be working in consistent schedules. The freedom of having your own schedule and changing it and not being forced to wake up at 7 o'clock in the morning, work till 5 in the afternoon, come home and repeat, that's not necessarily what might happen. Now, if you were to go into a company, maybe so, but if you're a freelance or you're working with maybe a company off of or as a client, you could be working 3 a.m. in the morning, 70 hours a week, but for 2 weeks at a time. So it's got a lot of change, but I've never been a set schedule person, so for me it's perfect. And traveling options is obviously really cool. Now, the reality that you're able to travel with this is amazing, because traveling the world, doing things, that's going to experience you and be able to help you learn in this job, in my opinion, as well. I believe that for me, my creativity is what's going to be able to propel me in this degree, in this career. Creativity is a must-have, in my opinion. If you don't have it, you have to be able to really follow what other people have done. You can still be successful like that, but to want to do it to grow successful, my passion to grow successful, for people to see what I've done, for people to see what I've created, that's what's really going to separate me from the other people that are going to be under my same job title. So it's always been about trying to show out to as many people as I can, try and get the world to kind of see what I've created. So that's why graphic design is a perfect thing for me. Hence my YouTube channel, my Twitch channel, Instagram, etc. I believe this really is the right career for me. I've been dreaming about this stuff since I was 14, 15 years old. I started having the funds to be able to put it all together in the last couple of years, and I've taken off with it. This is what I love. Over summer, I was doing this close to 80 hours a day. I kid you not, 7-8 hours a day of YouTube and Twitch entertainment, as well as creating my own thumbnails, backgrounds, images, ads. I've got a portfolio to show you guys, a little demo example reel, and things like that. So this that I pulled up right here, this is just the standard job flyer. It's not anything serious. It just tells you a little bit about what you're going to be accountable for, your interests and passions. Obviously, again, it's a very passionate based job, so you need to really want to do what you love to do. It's a full-time salary, $16 an hour. It's solid for just starting. This is something that somebody right out of college would try and apply for. High school or equivalent, that's all you need. But again, if you want to be successful, this is one of the things you're going to have to do to be able to propel yourself. There are other jobs that pay more, obviously, based on college degrees, and that's something you would probably want if you were looking for a serious career. In terms of my demo reel, I have a couple of things here. This is my first... Alrighty, guys, I am back again. Sorry about that. There was just another ad. So, I've got my demo reel. This has a couple of the things I've done, including this is a background that I used to use. One of the first things, a lot of this stuff is from me just starting out. There's a title I did for the first 10,000 views that I ever got on YouTube. This is the picture of my little cards that I used to give out. I bought 1,000 of these, and I was giving them out to people like crazy to kind of show what I'm doing, show my YouTube channel, my my art, my everything that I was doing. It's my first. This was a very, very rough one, but I am proud of it. I've got some stuff here, some things that I've done. This is a portfolio for school, actually, some of these things here. I created this by hand with the pen tool in Photoshop. One of the biggest things that you're going to have to do is be able to be creatively what's a good word for it? Creatively versatile, and the pen tool is something that can do wonders for you. So I've done stuff for other people. This is a commission that I did for somebody. This is something I created, the Amway Center. I actually used this with the pen tool, and I created my little cards for my sister for her business that she started. And you know, it's just a sample size. Like I said, it's nothing serious, but it's got enough to kind of show you guys that I'm very serious about this. I'm very passionate about this. This is a big thing for me. So thank you guys. Thank you to my professor who's going to be able to watch this afterwards. And I encourage everyone to do what they love, because this is what I love. And this is one of the biggest things that I've ever found in my life that I've been able to say for sure without even thinking about it. This is what I want to do. So thank you guys very much. And I will see the rest of you in another video very soon, hopefully. Have a nice day. Stay classy.